to my channel. My name is Darian and welcome to my May wrap-up. So today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in May. I read 6 whole books. Honestly, not that great considering all the time I had in May, but it's fine. But as I've been doing for the past few months, I'm going to continue the tradition that I started with my wrap-ups, and this is going to be yet another drunk wrap-up. So we're trying a new drink today. It is Jack Daniel's Lynchburg lemonade, and I usually like lemonade like drinks with alcohol in them. So I think I'll like this. I have already had a whole glass of wine, by the way, before this to like prepare. So I think I'll like this. So I'm gonna try this for the first time live on camera just for you guys. It doesn't smell like anything. I don't know where I'm smelling it, but let's see. Oh, that tastes good. That's really yummy. Alright, so like I said, in May I read 6 books, and 3 of them were during the 48-hour bookoplathon. So I read 3 books in the span of 2 days, and then 3 other books in the span of like 3 weeks. So I didn't do too great in May, but near the end of May I started a new job and I was very stressed, and when I'm really stressed I have a hard time reading because I just can't focus on the book because I'll read like a sentence and then my mind will start racing. So that's probably why I didn't read as much in May. But let's just get started with the 6 books that I did read in May. So the first book that I finished in May was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, and this was the April pick for the Shadowhunters read along. I am falling behind on this read along, so I'm so sorry to everyone who is waiting for the live shows and is actually following along. I am the worst, I know, but this was the April book, and this is the first book in the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare, which is the second series that she wrote in the Shadowhunters world. I feel like most people know about Shadowhunters and everything like that, but if you don't, this might be kind of confusing. Cassandra Clare has written many series within this universe. This is the second one. It is a prequel series to the first one she wrote, which is The Mortal Instruments. I think I explained that very well. Also, I tabbed it. Do you see? This book is pretty yellow because I got this book when I was like 14, but I tabbed it and it was fun. So this book takes place in the 1800s when it just says Victorian England, so I don't know the exact year, but you're following Tessa Gray, who has just gotten to London. She is American and she is looking for her brother, and she ends up getting like kind of kidnapped by these dark sisters who basically like force Tessa to reveal that she has a certain power where she can basically like shapeshift into someone else. So like if she has like a lock of someone's hair, she can make her body turn into their body, you know what I'm saying? And then she meets Shadowhunters, Will and Jem and everyone else at the Institute, and Will and Jem both fall in love with her because that's what happens in YA. And Will is so much better than Jem in my opinion. I love Will so much. I have loved him since I first met him when I was 14, and I will continue to love him until the day I die. I like Jem, okay? I like him as a person. He's very soft and cute, and I love his relationship with Will. Like, they have such a great bromance. I love them so much. But for Tessa, no, no, no. Get Jem out of here. Will is the one for Tessa. You can't change my mind. There's no changing my mind. There's no changing my mind. Nobody can change my mind. Will is the best. Jem, no. No, no, no. So that's my thoughts on Will and Jem, but I really like this book. I don't remember what rating I gave it. Oh, I gave it a 4.5 stars. Yeah, I was kind of expecting to give it a 5-star, but there were some things about it that kind of annoyed me. I mean, this was written in 2010, so that was bound to happen, but this book was also really funny. Like Will, I know Sid is watching this, and Sid often compares Will to Jace from the Mortal Instruments series, and Will is nowhere near as bad as Jace. Will is amazing and Jace is fine, but Will is so much funnier than Jace. I mean, Jace is funny sometimes, but Will is so much better. So I don't really have much else to say about this book. If you are interested in getting into the Shadowhunters series, I mean, you can read the Mortal Instruments series. It's just nowhere near as good as this series. The Infernal Devices, I love it so much, and this month we're supposed to be reading Clockwork Prince, but I haven't even started City of Fallen Angels yet, which is a problem. But We have a live show for this book if you want to see all our spoilery thoughts, so I'll leave that link down below. That's all I have to say about it. The next book I am so excited to talk about because I need everyone to just stop what they're doing and go pick this book up, because I know this book is going to remain underhyped. No one is going to appreciate this book as much as it needs to be appreciated. So I am here to tell you all to go pick up this book. I'm forcing you to do it. If you don't, I will punch you in the face. Okay, no I won't. For legal reasons, that was a joke. But please pick it up anyways because I love it and it's a very important book to me, and that is The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. This was my most anticipated book of the year and it did not disappoint. This is a romance following a asexual main character. Okay, that's enough. That should be enough. You should, based on that alone, you should go pick this up. But if you want more information, you're following Joy, who is in her 30s. She is asexual, and for the past 10 years she's been in love with her best friend named Malcolm, but they have a very codependent relationship. Like whenever Malcolm needs her, she is always there for him, but this causes some problems within Malcolm's relationships because girls tend to be really jealous of how close him and Joy are, and they have both always assured his romantic partners that they are nothing more than friends, even though Joy would love for them to be more than friends. Then one day Malcolm asks, okay, let's see if I can explain this properly. Malcolm asks Joy to accompany him to this weekend lake getaway that he has invited the girl he's interested in to go on. Does that make sense? Okay, stick with me here. Malcolm invited the girl that he likes to this weekend getaway, but the girl he likes, who I don't remember her name, does it say? I think her name's Summer. Summer invited her best friend named Fox because it's Fox's birthday and she didn't want to like ditch him on his birthday, so she invited him. She didn't like completely realize that Malcolm was inviting her because of romantic reasons, so Malcolm asks Joy if she can come to keep Fox company so that he can spend time with Summer. Do we understand? Yes, we do. So Joy, of course, says yes because she can't say no to Malcolm because she's in love with him and she thinks she has to do everything for him. Like she basically gives her whole self to him because she's like, well, we're best friends and that's what we do. So she goes on this weekend getaway, meets Fox. Oh my gosh, there's some sparks between her and Fox. What happens now? And it's just such a beautiful book because I've never read a romance where the main character is openly and like proudly asexual. Like Joy is not figuring out her sexual identity. She's already realized that she's asexual and she's very confident in it, and she's just been harboring these feelings for her best friend for 10 years, and Malcolm can go, I wish him a very drown in a lake. Because though he definitely takes advantage of Joy for most of the book and for most of their friendship, because he knows, like, he's so used to her being there for him all the time that he just expects her to always be there for him. And Joy, since she loves him so much, she doesn't want to let him down. And through this like weekend trip, they kind of both realize that their relationship isn't necessarily healthy. So not only is a romance, but it focuses also on like the nature of codependent relationships and how that can be harmful. And I really loved reading about that. And also Fox, I love him so much. Like the romance between him and Joy is so beautiful, and he was so like understanding with her, and I just really loved this book, and it made me so happy to see such like blatant ace representation in a romance book. And I know like so many people are gonna see this and like there's no sex scenes in the book because Joy, she's not really sure if she wants to have sex or not, but for the time being she is kind of sex repulsed, so there's no sex in this book. And I feel like most people, when they hear that, like a romance, an adult romance with no sex, they are gonna be turned off by this book. But I think it's important to read books like this because romance does not equal sex. And for those of us who are asexual, like I don't mind reading sex scenes in books. Sometimes they're too much for me, but like for me it's like, well, if I'm gonna read a romance, then it just comes with the territory that there's gonna be explicit sex scenes. And it doesn't have to be that way because there's so many people, not even just asexual people, but like not everyone loves to read explicit sex scenes, and like I know so many people do, but it's just really nice to see a romance without explicit sex scenes for those of us who don't love reading that, and like to see that someone like me deserves a romance book of my own, you know. I just really hope a lot of people will pick this book up because I want it to be really successful and I want more books like this to be made, because it just means a lot to me. Even if you read the synopsis of the book and you turned off because there's no smut scenes, please just give it a chance because it's a really beautiful story and I really loved it. And I think it's also, not only is it important to read asexual voices, but I think asexual people of color also, because within the asexual community there is a lot of racism, and I think it's important to lift up these Black asexual voices like that are in this book. And it's just a really beautiful story, and up until very recently it was my favorite book of the year. So pick it up, I love it, and it's a perfect summer read too because it takes place at like this lake house. Like, look at it, summer vibes. Pick it up, love it so much. Okay, do it. I'm not sure if any of that made sense, but I hope it did. The next book I read in May, I'm very excited to talk about. I actually kind of buddy read this with Lisa and Kasey, except Kasey ended up DNFing it, and like I was loving the book so much, so I kind of sped through it before Lisa could finish it. But I still count it as a buddy read with the besties, okay? But that book was Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. This book has been on my TBR since the moment I heard about it because I just had a feeling that I would absolutely love this book, and guess what? I did. This is a like wow, that's a hard word to say, multi-generational story, and you're mainly following this woman, what's her name, Sunja, and you basically follow her from like when she's born, because the very beginning starts with her parents and then Sunja's born, and then you follow her as she is Korean, but I think she moves to Japan. Yes, so she is Korean, she moves to Japan, and you follow her and her family as war breaks out, and it is very much about family and also like the sense of belonging and, you know, nationality and what that means to each person. And this was such an interesting and beautiful story. I loved all the characters we met in this book, and like this book really was upsetting, and you would be introduced to a character and then it'd be like, here's this character and here's all their trauma, and their trauma would be like really traumatic, obviously, because it's trauma. But yeah, this book is not like a super happy time, especially near the end. There's just like one bad thing after another. Let me see what trigger warnings I wrote. So yeah, there's trigger warnings for sexual assault, for miscarriage, abortion, and there is a mention of the R word in this book. So if any of those are triggering to you, I would maybe stay away from this book. But I thought it was a beautiful story. I love books that follow characters throughout their entire lifetimes. Like, I love taking a look at a character and following them through everything that they go through. And this not only, like, Sunja is the main character, but it doesn't necessarily focus on her. It focuses on pretty much every member of her family and everything that they go through, and you just really learn to feel for these characters. Even the ones that you don't spend very much time with, you end up feeling for them so much. So I really love this book. I loved the writing, and I am definitely interested in reading more from Min-Jin Lee, and this was definitely a book that lived up to the hype for me, because I feel like every time I see someone read this book they give it 4 or 5 stars, and this was definitely a 5-star for me. I just loved it. I loved being in this world. I was sad when the book ended because I just wanted to keep reading it, and I wanted to keep reading about these characters and see what happened with them. So yeah, definitely highly recommend this book. I think it deserves all the hype and I love it very much. So there you go. I feel like I'm actually making sense in this video, but we'll see when I edit it, but I feel like I'm actually making sense. Let me know if you think I'm making sense. But the next book I read was the first book that I read during the Bookathon, which was a readathon hosted by Becca from Becca and the Books. I have a vlog if you want to go check it out. It is, I think, up there. Go check it out. It was a good time. But I read 3 books during that weekend. The first one is How to Walk on Water by Rachel Swearingen, and this is a collection of short stories, and I got accepted for this arc many moons ago. It came out in 2020 and I never read it, so I read it for Bookathon. Now this short story collection, like, I don't think there was really a theme in the story. I mean, all the stories kind of seemed like they all kind of had an upsetting vibe to them. I will say trigger warnings for suicide, for rape, and for kidnapping. There were 2 stories that involved kidnapping. I don't know why. There's something in my eyeball. Hello. Yeah, I don't know why 2 stories had to do with kidnapping, but they did. What is in my eye right now? Anyways, but I really, like, I don't have much to say about this. I have barely, like, none of the stories stuck with me. I can kind of vaguely describe some of them to you maybe. I mean, 2 of them. There was kidnapping, okay, there was that. There was one that was really upsetting. It was about this guy who, like, his mother survived an attack by a serial killer when he was a baby. That one was really upsetting. There was one about a guy and his neighbor like did art installations, but she was kind of weird. That's basically all I remember. But yeah, it was very fine for me. I gave it 2.5 stars. I really don't have much to say about it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, but also I don't think anyone has this on their radar or anything. Like, it came out 2 years ago and I've never heard anybody talk about it. So you don't need to read this one. You can skip it. Pretend I never even mentioned it and go back to never knowing this existed, I guess. I don't know. The next book I read 3 5-stars in the month of May, and for, no, yeah, 3 5-stars in the month of May, and for only reading 6 books, half of them were 5 stars. That's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. But the last 5-star that I read in May was Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam, and I read this for the Buzzword-a-thon in May. The prompt was directions, so I chose behind. I think that counts as a direction. But Leave the World Behind is a pretty short book. It follows this family who rent this like cabin to go on vacation, but then all of a sudden the owners of the cabin show up and they're like, hey, there's like a huge power outage that is happening all over the East Coast and we're scared, so can we just come in and stay with you guys because this is our home and we want to be somewhere familiar? And the family is like, should we trust these people? I don't even know. So it's basically about them like trying to decide if they should trust them, and also figuring out what the heck is going on in the world, because they have no power. They can't look at their cell phones. They can't look at the news to see what's going on. Like, nothing is working. So we don't know what's going on and we never really find out. We get hints throughout the book, and like there's a few things that is like, little did they know in a few weeks of blah 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 blah, and like there'd be stuff like that. So you would find out stuff that like would happen in the future, but you still never really found out like what the heck was going on. Why is there a power outage? Like, you don't know. It kind of seems like there's like supernatural things going on, but again, you don't really know what goes on. So I understand why some people don't like this book, because you kind of you're left hanging. You don't ever really find out what the heck is going on. I don't mind that. I thought the writing in this was really beautiful, and it's like just enough weird for me to really like it. I am learning that I kind of like weird books, and this was definitely a little weird and I liked it a lot. And when I say weird, I mean weird in that it's not like a traditional way of telling stories. So maybe weird isn't the right word, but I really liked it. It's different and I liked it. It was very interesting. I listened to the audiobook in one sitting, and I definitely want a physical copy because I want to go back and like read it and highlight it and tab it. And I really liked it, and I would say give it a chance, okay, all you people.
Hey all you people, hey all you people, hey all you people, won't you listen to me?
Because it has a very low rating on Goodreads, as I recently found out, and I feel like that's gonna turn people off, and people are gonna be like, well, you don't get a resolution, so I'm not even gonna read it. I say just give it a chance because I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars, okay? 5 stars is it's the best rating you could give, and I thought it was pretty darn good. I don't know what else to say about it. It also was a really interesting discussion on like technology and how technology affects our day-to-day lives, and also on race and class, because these two families are of different races and from different classes, and the disparity between them. And I don't know. I thought it was very interesting, and I can't eloquently explain why I liked it so much, but I really loved it. I think it's gonna be in my top 10 books of the year, to be honest. So there you go, pick it up. Or else. Okay, we're already at the last book. I feel like I've been filming for 2 minutes, but it's probably been longer. But the last book I read was in the book-oplathon, which was like 2 weeks before the month ended, and then I did not finish another book. Can you believe that? My hair looks kind of good right now. Anyways, the last book I read in May was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I'm just gonna lay over here. I hope that's good with you guys. Yeah, Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is a book I've been wanting to read for a long time. It's another book that I've owned for a while. I don't remember if I said that before, but this follows this young boy named, I think his name's Connor. Yes. Connor and his mother is sick and she's dying. They never really say what she's sick with, but I feel like it's pretty clear that it's cancer. And one night this monster comes to visit him and he doesn't understand why. And then you kind of start to find out why, and it's a very beautiful story. And if you pick this book up, I would highly recommend getting this edition with the illustrations, because like the illustrations in this book are so beautiful. They're done by Jim Kay. Let me find another one, because like look how beautiful that is. They're so like haunting, and I just thought they perfectly, like they went perfectly with the story. And this was, in my opinion, such a beautiful look at grief. I said this in my Bookathon vlog, but it was definitely a very upsetting story, but it also made me feel kind of validated in my feelings. And the way that Connor is experiencing grief like reminded me a lot of myself, and it just made me feel very safe in my feelings. And so if you are experiencing grief, I would definitely tread with caution with this book, because this would definitely be triggering. But I feel like if you're at a place where you think you can handle it, I think this would really be helpful to certain people who are experiencing grief, because for me personally, it made me feel very safe in my feelings and made me feel like the way I look at grief is okay, and it validated my feelings, and I thought that was just really powerful. So I thought this was just a great story. It was also just beautiful, you know? And I'm definitely interested in seeing the movie now. I haven't heard like if it's good or bad. I feel like I don't know many people who have seen the movie, so let me know if you have. I do recommend this one if you think you can handle it, because I think it just made me feel safe. That's the best word I can think of when I think of this book, is safe. And I gave it 4.5 stars. So those are the books that I read in the month of May. I feel like I went through this very fast, so apologies if I did not give the most clear thoughts on these books, but basically what you should take out of this video is pick up all those 5-star books. Romantic Agenda, Leave the World Behind, Pachinko. Pick those up, report back to me. If you don't like them, then you're wrong. Sorry. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave like either a lemon or a drink emoji in the comments in honor of this drink. And let me know what you read in May. What was the best book you read in May? And did you get any 5 stars? I got 3. Okay, I win. If you beat that, let me know. But I doubt you did. Okay. I don't know why I'm getting aggressive. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Bye!